In most cases, if you've got a worn, everyday 1965 quarter from your pocket change, it's worth 25 cents. But there are exceptions. Here's a breakdown. These may be worth $10 to $25 or more at auction, so if it's heavily worn, it's a spender. But if you've got a sharp, shiny one, it might be worth saving. Now here's where it gets exciting. There are some rare varieties and errors from 1965 that can bring in big bucks, even in circulated condition. Here are some known valuable errors to look for. These were transitional errors. A few leftover silver blanks were accidentally used. Value? $4,000 to $10,000 plus, depending on condition. How to spot it? Weigh it. Silver quarters weigh 6.25 grams. Copper-nickel ones weigh 5.67 grams. Look closely at the date and the word Liberty. If there's doubling, you may have a double die value. $100 to $500 plus, depending on clarity and grade. These misaligned coins can be worth $50 to $300 or more, depending on how dramatic the error is. A chunk of the coin is missing from the edge. This mint error can fetch $20 to $150. So, how do you check if your 1965 Liberty quarter is worth something? The 1965 Washington quarter might seem ordinary, and most of them are, but that doesn't mean you should ignore them. With high mintage, they're common. But those rare silver planchet errors, double dies, and high-grade specimens can turn this pocket change into serious cash. Oh, before you spend that old quarter, give it a second look. You never know what treasure you might be holding. To understand the 1965 Liberty quarter, we have to go back in time to a pivotal moment in U.S. coin history. The year was 1965, a year of transition, change, and coin controversy. From 1932 to 1964, the United States minted Washington quarters made of 90% silver and 10% copper. These coins weren't just currency, they were made of real precious metal, and they carried intrinsic value beyond their face value of 25 cents. But during the early 1960s, the U.S. faced a serious coinage crisis. The price of silver was rising rapidly, and by 1964, the silver content in quarters and dimes made them worth more than their face value. People started hoarding coins, not for collecting, but for melting and profit. This caused massive shortages in circulation, so, in 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson and the U.S. Mint took a bold step. They removed silver from quarters entirely and introduced a new metal composition, a core of pure copper, sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, what we now call clad coins. The decision was controversial at the time. People feared that coins without silver wouldn't be trusted or accepted. But the government reassured the public, and the transition proved successful. To reduce hoarding even further, the mint temporarily removed mint marks from all coins between 1965 and 1967, making it impossible to tell where a coin was made. The idea was to discourage people from saving coins by location or perceived rarity. Despite these changes, the design of the quarter stayed the same. On the obverse, we still see George Washington's profile, first sculpted by John Flanagan in 1932. The reverse features the classic heraldic eagle, wings spread, perched on arrows with olive branches below. The 1965 quarter marked the first year of non-silver coinage in modern U.S. history, a turning point that changed American coin collecting forever. While most of these coins were spent, lost, or forgotten, a few rare varieties and errors have become incredibly sought after by collectors today. Why? Well, in the early 1960s, the price of silver skyrocketed, leading to a national coin shortage. People began hoarding silver coins, and the U.S. Mint needed a solution. The result was the introduction of clad coinage, using a copper-nickel sandwich composition instead of silver. By 1977, the Washington quarter was well into its clad era. These coins were made with a copper core and nickel outer layer, giving them the familiar silvery look, but with no precious metal content. 1977 was also a time of economic tension in the United States. The country was still adjusting to the aftermath of the Vietnam War, dealing with inflation, and recovering from the 1973 oil crisis. Despite these challenges, coin production continued strong, and that year, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck hundreds of millions of quarters for circulation. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Mint produced specially made proof coins for collectors. Although the design had remained mostly unchanged for decades, the 1977 quarter still holds significance. It represents a turning point in American coinage, an era where practicality and mass production took center stage, leaving behind the precious metals of the past. 1983 Liberty half-quarter dollar, better known as the 1983 Washington quarter. What's it worth in circulated condition? Are there rare errors to look out for? And why is this coin so special in U.S. coinage history? First things first, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1983 quarter is part of the iconic Washington Quarter Series, which began in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin features the profile of the first U.S. president on the obverse, with the word Liberty inscribed above his head, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the mint year, in our case, 1983, just below. The reverse design features a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, standing on a bundle of arrows with olive branches. Underneath, symbolizing strength and peace. Now, the year 1983 was a crucial one for the Washington Quarter. That's because NO Mint sets were released by the U.S. Mint that year. That made 1983 quarters especially interesting to collectors.
Why?
Because every single 1983 quarter was released into circulation only. No pristine mint set versions were saved for collector. In 1983, quarters were minted at two main facilities: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, with a mintage of about 673.5 million. Denver Mint, DE mint mark, with around 617.8 million coins produced. There was no San Francisco proof version for circulation, though a limited number of proofs were struck for collectors. That high mintage might make you think these coins are common, and they are, but there's more too. Now let's talk about the big question. What is a 1983 Liberty quarter worth today if it circulated? 4 coins found in your pocket change, worn, scratched, and showing signs of use. The value is usually 25 cents, face value, to 40 cents in most cases, but here's the twist. Well-preserved circulated examples, especially with strong strikes, can fetch $1 to $3, depending on condition and mint mark. Why the premium? Because of the no mint set situation. Finding a 1983 quarter with crisp details, sharp rims, and minimal wear is very tough. Collectors often have to turn to circulated coins to complete their collections. Let's get into the exciting stuff: errors and varieties. These are the 1983 quarters that can be worth hundreds of dollars or more if you spot them. One of the most famous errors for this year. Look for doubling on the word E pluribus unum, the arrows, and even the eagle's feathers. Depending on condition, this error coin can sell for $75 to over $300. If the coin design is noticeably shifted or missing part of the image, it's an error. These coins can sell for $20 to $100 plus, depending on how extreme the error is. This is when a coin is missing a portion of the metal due to a minting mishap. Values can range from $15 to $50 plus. Minor errors like these add variety and can fetch $5 to $25 if noticeable. Always check your coins under good lighting and a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. If you have a sharp-looking 1983 quarter, consider protecting it in a 2x2 cardboard coin flip or adding it to your album. These coins might not make you rich, but they're historically significant and collectible. To wrap it up, the 1983 Liberty half-quarter dollar, or Washington quarter, is a fascinating coin from a unique year. Even in circulated condition, it holds a bit of numismatic value, especially due to the absence of mint sets. And if you're lucky enough to find one with an error, that's where things really get exciting. So, the next time you're digging through spare change, keep your eyes open. That ordinary quarter might just be worth more than you think. So, the next time you're digging through spare change, keep your eyes open. That ordinary quarter might just be worth more than you think. Hit that like button if you learned something new today. Drop a comment if you found any interesting 1983 quarters, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin collecting guides and price updates. Thanks for watching. Happy coin hunting!